Thus, Raven Tactical here. What makes a good book, good magazine, or a good prepper book, I guess? I, like many people, when I started prepping, I started getting into it. There's quite a bit of books. If you go to a library, or you go to a bookstore, or you're on Amazon and you type in prepper book, there is a genre of it, and how do you tell what's good and what's bad? I guess you have to sit there and pinpoint what stage you're at in prepping. If you're just starting out and you're just beginning, you're gonna probably be not at the point where maybe a large part of what people are watching this channel is at. So if you need someone to explain to you, food storage in a really simple manner where it is stocking cans, or you need defense kind of things where it's, where they basically go over a brief history of knives and guns. Yeah. Sometimes like a book like that where I'm going to call it, there's an author who writes things like, his name's Jim Cobb, and I had a couple of his books, and I did a review of one of his books. Now, his books never go into depth. They scratch the surface, and they're very much what I would consider to be like a lot of like the same books at that level, where they're basically a copy and paste. You could take his name out of it and put, Jim on there. Well, it's not Jim, but you could put Bob Hansen, and then Bob Hansen writes the same stuff, but he, titles it differently. So it's that same like genre of like scratching the surface. You're not going in depth on food storage. You talk about food storage. You talk briefly about weapons, and you talk maybe about like storing gold or whatever. You don't really go into depth enough to get people to that next level. It's just basically, you're like, what I would consider most people who get these books read them because they're interested in prepping, and then they never do it. So then it just sits on a shelf, or they throw it away. The guy himself, like Jim Cobb himself, he's an avid person on his website as a survivalist prepper, but when I first got his books, I thought, hey, that's cool. Like, I was kind of in between. I was in between like scratching the surface, and I was more leaning towards kind of the, what would you call it? I was leaning more towards having to be lone wolf for a while at the time, or when our group started going up, we started bringing in our group, it was like, oh, okay, so now we do have more people. So I wasn't like the big food storage guy, but I got it. I had an idea. And when I got those books, I was kind of excited to find out the author was from Wisconsin, more so Milwaukee. So I was cool, like, that's cool. But then when you find his website and his Facebook site, and you're like, oh, well, that's interesting to know that he actually is there. So you kind of dig into the author to find more info about him. And then, to me, that's when I started realizing that, like, who do you follow? Now, I wouldn't say follow like a god, but who are like the people that you would consider to be like the people who you want to basically learn from, right? Well, when you're learning from a guy who lives in a subdivision at that time, you're basically looking at the fact that he lives in a subdivision. He's not at he doesn't have a meg group. He's not, there. Writes about it, but writes about it from, I think, a perspective of dreaming. So you're kind of going, oh, that's different. It's kind of like one of those things when you meet the author, right? Or you meet your hero, I guess. And I'm not going to say it was my hero, but you meet the person who you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And all of a sudden it's like, man, that's somewhat disappointing. And there's nothing wrong with Jim Cobb. There's nothing bad about him. I don't think he's vindictive. I think he was a little smug and a little arrogant when you kind of interact with him. But, maybe for a guy that actually makes a a living from writing these shallow books, sure, why not, I guess. We're here doing it, some people can get away with it for a while. And some people, like I said, the majority of his people who are prepping with his knowledge aren't. They're just reading a book. It's a good giveaway. It's one of those things that people give as gifts. So that's kind of where I draw the line on like what's good and bad. I've been using that as like an example of why I don't want to spend $15 on a book and then be like, man, this was really not useful. I don't care how many times you have to tell me, you need to have 60 days and 90 days worth of food. Okay, that's neat. Have you told me how to can? Have you told me detailed how to can? Not that I need to can, but why don't you actually go into how to can? Oh, because that wouldn't take knowledge, skill, time, and you couldn't you'd fill half a book just on canning knowledge, and you can't fill it with everything else. Why? Because the people who read these things would just skim over it. They don't want to can. They want a quick answer. They want to be told, buy Mountain House food, and then you'll be good. I think when I had the opportunity to review one of his books, so we got a chance, and it was like the self-defense weapons book. I thought, hey, that's really cool. That's kind of where I like my area of I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I want to say that's my passion, I guess. And the book was probably 140 some pages. They're charging people $12 to $15 an hour for the book. I got it for free. And when I was going through the book, it was just shallow information. Nothing was good. There's nothing in depth. The only thing that went in depth was you could tell the author really liked and had a passion for expensive knives. Very cool. I think it's very cool that that's his passion. But, when you have 20 pages on knives and you only dedicated 3 to firearms, and then you're going, well, this is self-defense, and, you're basically, you describe firearms in, the really traditional 1970s method, and you had 3 pages on it, and it was revolver, semi-auto, shotgun, and maybe muzzleloader, and that was it. It was a brief description of each, and it was a little pro, little con, and that was it. I think there was even a blurb in there that said something like, not everyone's going to want firearms in their house because they don't believe in them. And I'm going, oh, what? You're writing about prepping and surviving and the end of the world kind of thing, and you're all going to believe in firearms at that point. When there is rule without law, you will, no matter what your stance is on firearms, will be pro-firearm. You will be pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment at that point. There's just no doubt. So I think maybe his lack of experience showed really badly there. The book went into things like rocks and slingshots and, okay. Honestly, I think he should have maybe just focused the book on knives. That's his passion, right? He could have changed the title of the book and just made it about describing all about knives and all this. And sure, you know what? I wouldn't fault him for that. So, I think, to me, I'm not trying to dog on the guy too much. I don't really care for him in the sense that, I didn't like his book, and I didn't really care for the attitude when we had a conversation back and forth. So, I think, if you're gonna get books for prepping, that's why I try to do these book reviews. I really try to give people an example of a book review. When I do an Audible book, that's more of an action book. I make sure that the book, for what I'm getting for $15, lasts longer than 10 hours. To me, a 10-hour book on Audibles is value for your money. If it's 6 hours, that's a pretty short book. It's almost like a short, a short novel kind of thing. So, I hope you kind of like the book reviews that I've been doing. I'm going to keep continuing to do them. I just want people to at least get a review from someone, maybe from my perspective, and whether I think they're good or not. I mean, it's my opinion, and not, I'm not set in stone on everything. So I hope everybody likes the book reviews I've been doing. I'll have another one coming out. I hope everyone appreciates it. So this is Raven Tactical out. Hey, hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and have a great day.